is Jodi. Today I'm going to show you some awesome coordinating products from the new Occasions catalog from Stampin' Up. This is the cover of the catalog. If you don't have one yet, be sure to contact me and I'm happy to send one to you. Today I'm going to focus on the Painted Petals stamp set, which you can get wood, clear, or photopolymer. I honestly can't imagine using anything but photopolymer on this one, and you'll see why as I make the card. There's also right here the Spring Flowers textured embossing folder, as well as the Painted Blooms Designer Series paper. On the opposite page, there's some great ideas over here. You can take one of the pieces of designer paper and just stick it in a frame to hang on your wall. I did that with that piece. I had a white frame and it looks great. So lots of ideas right here in the catalog as well. For the card I'm going to show you today, I'm going to start with the card base that's basic black. So that's 8.5 by 5.5 inches. Just fold it in half. And then my next layer is Sahara Sand, and this piece is 4 inches by 5.25, and I'm going to use that Spring Flowers embossing folder and just stick it between my cutting pads, crank it through my Big Shot, and that will put the awesome floral texture right on that paper. So you can see it would also be cool to use this way too, where it's instead of raised and embossed, it's debossed where the image goes down in. So we will use some adhesive and just go ahead and attach this. Normally I just put some adhesive in the corners, but because of this being embossed, there's a little less area that actually is connecting with the adhesive, and so that's why I put some more than usual on it. So we'll go like that, and then we'll start working on the focal point. This piece right here is 3 inches by 4.25, and I'm going to start with this dotted image, and this is photopolymer if you're not familiar with it. It's a totally clear image, so I use my acrylic block. I can see exactly where I'm going to be stamping. And I'm going to use Sahara Sand ink and just tap it on here gently. And then this is going to go across the bottom. And what's great about it being photopolymer is that I can line it up and see exactly where I'm going. Now for my next row of circles, I want to alternate just a little bit so I can easily see where it's going, place it right on top like that. While I have this out, because the card base, I'll pull that in real quick again, because it's black, when you open it, it's going to be super dark, and unless you have like a white gel pen, you won't be able to see the ink on there. So I cut another piece, this is just 5 by 3 3/4, and I'm just going to stamp some dots across the bottom of this as well, and then you could write or stamp your greeting there. So I'll go ahead and close this. I guess I'll stick this in the card right away. Just open that up and center it on the inside. Okay, now the one thing with photopolymer that you want to make sure you do is clean the stamp immediately after you use it. So I'm just spraying some of the Stampin' Mist cleaner on my scrub pad, rub it on the wet side and dry side, and now I'm good to go. The photopolymer will stain a little bit. It doesn't really affect how it works. It still functions perfectly fine, but and you can even see on this one, you might be able to see that pinkish tinge a little bit. So by cleaning your stamps right away, it just helps prevent some of that staining. So this thank you greeting, I'm going to put down here in the corner and overlap the circles just a little bit, and that ink was the black Memento ink, which happens to be the ink that you use with our alcohol markers, the blendabilities. The next image, hopefully you can see that okay, is the leaves and stem, and I'm going to use Wild Wasabi. Tap that on there gently. With photopolymer, you want to make sure that you're tapping gently, just because you don't want the ink to make a mess on the acrylic block or on the rest of your project when you go to stamp. Clean that one. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add the flowers with Blackberry Bliss. Now what makes photopolymer, in my mind, essential for this is that I want to line up these petals now with these leaves. And I just can't imagine doing that with a wood or a clear mount where I can't be absolutely sure I'm getting it in the right spot. So with Photopolymer, super easy. This is one with Blackberry Bliss you definitely want to clean right away. That dark purple color will tend to stain if it stays on there too long. Now, what I want to do is layer this on my black cardstock. That layer is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And I'll just set it on here. And the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull in my completed card just so you can compare a little bit, and hopefully you can tell the difference in the purple flowers. What I did was took one of our blender pens. These are dual tipped, same thing on both ends. And what I'm doing is just blending that color a little bit. This particular stamp, the image is like pixelated. It's tiny little marks, so it's not exactly a solid image. And by using this blender pen, it gives it just a little bit of a fuller, richer color. I can still see the shading in there, so I'm not totally eliminating that, but just making it a little more pronounced. So I'll just do that on all the petals. When you use the blender pen, you want to make sure and just swipe it on your scrap paper. And as soon as it comes out clean, you can see there was a little bit of color at first, but as soon as it comes out clear, you know that it's clean and you can use this on another color. Anything dual tipped like this, make sure you store flat horizontally so that one end doesn't dry out. The last thing then is just to put dimensionals, which I don't have in front of me, on the back of this and set it on this layer. So I'll pull my finished one in one more time. So you can see that's raised up right there with the Stampin' Dimensionals. So a quick and creative card using the new Painted Petals stamp set. I want to pull in real quickly for you some other cards that I did and also show you how I use the envelope liners with the designer paper with the painted blooms to make some coordinating envelopes. So I made this one and these together, this one, this one, and lastly this one. This is all for an upcoming class that I'm doing, so if you're local to me, make sure you check my calendar of events so that you can attend. Thanks so much for watching. For daily creative inspiration or to place an order, visit my blog. You can also find me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram.